Tyler James Robinson has been formally charged in connection with the fatal shooting of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk and could potentially face the firing squad if convicted. Attorney General Pam Bondi previously said she expects prosecutors to seek the death penalty, which she described as very real in Utah, noting that the state is allowed to use firing squads to carry out executions. During Robinson's first court appearance, the prosecution said that it had filed notice of their intent to seek the death penalty in the case.
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently, within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray.
Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice, if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor.
Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime.
Hearing that they are seeking the death penalty, what's your reaction?
I mean, so grateful that's been the case. You know, the biggest slap to the face in this entire situation would have been anything softer. By
the way, that prosecutor, I was like, you and I were just chatting about this, like sort of the old Utah versus the new Utah. I'm like, that's Utah.
So how does death by firing squad work in the U.S.? Here's everything you need to know. Most recently, a prisoner in South Carolina was put to death by firing on April 11th. Although much of the process used to kill Mikhail Mahdi remains a secret, according to a report by USA Today, which obtained South Carolina Department of Corrections execution protocols, it involved a 3-person firing squad, in which 3 bullets were aimed at his heart. Prisoners facing death by firing squad are restrained in a metal chair by the ankles, arms, and waist. In South Carolina, the chair is in the same room as the state's electric chair. A hood is placed over the prisoner's head, and a white square with a red bullseye is placed over the heart by a doctor. A curtain is then opened, revealing the witnesses, which might include family, media, and lawyers, who will watch the process through bulletproof glass. A final statement might be read by the prisoner's lawyer or an official from the prison, before a shade is opened, revealing the shooters, who are lined up 15 feet away from the prisoner. 3 voluntary members of the prison staff make up the firing squad in South Carolina. Their names and training are kept secret. They are all given high-powered rifles with live rounds. According to USA Today, the 3 shooters are hidden behind a wall with holes in it for the weapons to peek through. Without a countdown or warning for witnesses, the squad then opens fire. A short time later, a doctor comes out to pronounce the prisoner dead. Information about what would happen if the prisoner survives the shots has not been released to the public. How humane death by firing squad remains up for debate.
Charlie Kirk's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, charged with aggravated murder, and Utah's District Attorney Jeffrey Gray says he will seek The death penalty. We are now learning so many more details from Robinson's mother, his roommate, his text messages, and it's all chilling. Robinson messaging his roommate, with whom he refers to as my love, telling him he used his grandfather's rifle to carry out that shooting that killed Charlie Kirk. Robinson's mother telling police that her son had recently become more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. When asked why he did it, Robinson allegedly said that there is too much evil and referenced Kirk, saying he spreads too much hate. Let's get
the way that Mr. Kirk died, how dangerous it was for the crowd, the fact that the bullet that killed Mr. Kirk whizzed by the head of the person who was asking him the question, how it was close to others, that there were children in the crowd. Then we learned new details about the DNA evidence that they believe ties him to the scene, that there's DNA evidence from Tyler Robinson, according to authorities, on the trigger of the murder weapon that was recovered near the scene, that there's DNA evidence on the cartridges. An ordeal of the mother and father seeing the released image of their son and not shrinking away from it, saying, that looks like him. And the mother calls the son and he says, no, I was out sick both today and yesterday. And then she doesn't leave it there. She turns to her husband and said, that looks like our son. The father agrees. He ends up confronting his son, which all ends up in a family friend who is associated with the U.S. Marshals getting involved and then him being turned in.
It began with prosecutors sharing new information on the case, including a series of text messages between Robinson and his roommate, who, according to court documents, is transitioning from male to female, and authorities say they are also romantically involved. Now, prosecutors say these messages were sent after the shooting on September 10th. Quoting now, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." Authorities say his partner found a note that Robinson had left, and it read, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." More text messages now in response to that note. Prosecutors refer to the partner as the roommate. The roommate said, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." Robinson's roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, "I am. I'm sorry." The roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." And then later, prosecutors say Robinson's partner asked, quote, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson, according to prosecutors, later wrote, "Delete this exchange," adding later, Robinson, "Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent."
We need a return to what Utah was, which was, boldly convicted, deep red, focused, not going soft on all.
But it's beyond political, right? It's moral.
This is and again, I'm just going to speak from the heart.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because of, I understand the community quite a bit. I come from Little Utah down here in Arizona and the Mesa Gilbert area, the East Valley. And, without a doubt, this has been the conversation that we've had. I've had it with the governor's team in Utah, is that the soft on, the mentally ill and enabling them to be able to do things that harm others in our community because it feels good to a super minority of people in our community is what causes this violence, these acts of violence. And so having that same type of soft approach when you're talking about managing crime after the fact would have been absolutely disastrous.
In an execution chamber, and a hood is placed over their head. A white target is then placed on their chest. 5 gunmen stand 25 feet away behind a black curtain and brick wall with a gun port. The gunmen shoot with .30 caliber Winchester rifles. One gun is loaded with a blank so that none of the gunmen know who actually fired the fatal shots. The bullets enter the heart or lungs, puncturing the organs and immediately cutting off blood circulation to the brain. Lethal injections are currently authorized in 32 U.S. states, while electrocution is authorized in 8 states. 3 states allow death by hanging, and another 3 states use the gas chamber. Oklahoma is considering legislation authorizing the use of nitrogen gas to execute prisoners.
Even as Ralph Menzies is still pursuing several avenues for a stay of execution, the Utah Department of Corrections is preparing for its first execution by firing squad here at the new prison.
This is something we've been planning for months in advance.
Inside the state's death chamber, the gurney used for a lethal injection last year has been removed as the state readies the space for a firing squad.
We really have the blueprint as far as the operation and how it will work already in place, and we feel good about what happened last year.
Department of Corrections spokesperson Glenn Mills says at this stage, the department's priority is recruiting an 8-member execution team, a leader, 2 alternates, and 5 shooters.
Those 5 shooters, 4 of them will shoot live rounds and 1 will have a blank.
The shooters must be certified through Utah's Peace Officers Standards and Training, prove their proficiency with firearms, and pass mental strength tests. Unlike trying to find medical professionals to participate in a lethal injection, the department has a clear and vast recruiting pool in Utah law enforcement agencies across the state.
We just work with them in recruiting.
Would you say you have more people willing to participate than you would need?
Yes, I would say that. We will definitely be able to fill that 8-person team.
Mills says no one will be forced to participate in carrying out a death sentence, but many feel it's their duty.
When I sit around the table and we talk about this very sensitive issue, not one person would necessarily choose to be doing that at that moment, but they see it as a heavy responsibility and something that they have been called upon to do.